I'll like stand over somebody and make them row the bar down. Then they do it the perfect way, right? Then you always end up in the same spot. Because if you end up exactly.
So today we're going to talk about the bench press. We're talking about the big 6 compound movements, which are the squat, the deadlift, the bench, the row, the overhead press, and the pull down. So today it's the bench press. This is the #1 move which I see people doing incorrectly in the gym all the time, putting their shoulders at risk. Again, you can either put your shoulders at risk with a motion like this, or you can strengthen your shoulders and strengthen your whole upper body, strengthen your back, do it right, strengthen all these things. So the biggest thing is going to be shoulders, and you've got to keep them back. That should be the main focus when you're learning how to do the bench. You don't just lay on the bench and get the bar and just start pushing it. You got to make sure to basically pinch your shoulder blades together when you're laying back on that bench. And it helps if you have the bar a lot lower. It helps if you have it down here. A lot of people, when you watch them, it's way up here by their neck and their elbows are flared way out. That's a position of weakness, and your shoulders are super vulnerable. So today, I've got Tyler Kleinhuizen, Strongman competitor, incredible power lifter. Got him here with me. He's the founder of Evo Ultra Performance gym in Minnesota. He's going to show us how to bench perfect form.
First thing you're going to notice is that we like to get into a routine. Each person's going to kind of have their own routine, but you want to develop a routine so that so it's not foreign to you, so it's something that you do all the time. You want to set up the same way each and every time. First thing I like to do is lay down on the bench. I like to lay completely flat. So this would be the worst position to bench from. This would be the worst position for you to bench press from. Okay, so now what he's going to do, he's going to grab the bar. There's a bunch of different ways to do this. We'll show it this way. I'll show you another way in a second. He's got his feet up on the bench. Now he's tucking his shoulder blades underneath him. Now he's going to put his legs down. We'll have him do that one more time, because how you start is going to be how you finish. The way that you start, the way that you set up is going to be the most crucial part of all this. We've seen people get 20 and 30 pound increases on their bench once they just simply get the setup down. So here's Mike. He's going to do the setup again, getting those shoulder blades back. Now he's going to put his feet down. The key to putting your feet down right there is to make sure you do it carefully and make sure you don't unwind any of this stuff you got going on here. Shoulder blades are back. He's got the rib cage up. Kneecaps are below the hips, and he's got good foot positioning here. You always want to have your knee below the hip. That tells me that your sternum and that your chesticles are up in the air.
Okay, so when I teach people how to bench, the most important thing I'm always emphasizing, shoulders back, pinch the shoulders. How about you? When you're first teaching benching, what are some of the tips?
Sure. I would add shoulders back and down. But the easiest way I've found to ever help somebody learn the bench is to make them row the bar down. So if you had a spotter, for instance, I'm holding the bar at the top. If I have a load to pull against, I'm never going to pull it up. I'm never going to pull my elbows wide. I'm going to pull it low and right to the base of my sternum, because that's how my body is biomechanically meant to pull the most forcefully. So if I can row the bar down every rep, then I have the perfect setup to do the same rep every single time. If you don't have the feel for the row, you can't end up in the same spot every single time, because if I'm just drifting or resisting or bracing, I have there's so much more variability in what my shoulders want to do. But if I literally activate lats, biceps, and row down, then I have this proper elevation of the sternum, and I'm prepared to press, versus I'm concentric, trying to stay concentric, and I'm less prepared to press.
So it's really not that complicated, but it's amazing how many people do it wrong. It's just unbelievable. And if you're doing it right, it feels stronger. Like he said, it's biomechanically just the way your body is set up. But you know, so many people go in there and they're putting their shoulders way out here outside of the joint. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's like an 8-inch difference in terms of how far out you can go. If you're pushing way out here, that's way too far. You should literally, this should be more the top of your bench and not this, you know? So that even allows you to bench more because you're not benching quite so much distance. If you're doing it correctly, you're just benching here, position of power, shoulders back, start with them back, keep them back, video yourself from the side angle so that you can keep yourself honest. And I mean, is there anything else? Pushing from the legs is probably another big tip that helps you to bench more.
Sure. I would say also to grip width. A lot of times people will set up with far too wide of a grip for them. Easiest way to advise somebody on bench grip width would be stand with your arms at your sides and relax. Now just bend your arms up. So we should have that somewhere around 45-degree angle. Our hands should be maybe an inch outside our shoulders, but nothing more than that, because we want to keep a fairly compact position. And that's going to, again, proper form is built into our bodies. It's not going to be extremely different from person to person. There'll be some variation, but basically we can set ourselves up in some really easy cues to do it right.
Yeah, the way I like to do it when I get on the bench, I like to put my feet up on the bench and make sure my shoulder blades are back and down, because that flat surface tends to fight you a little bit just to get into that position at first. And then once you get into that position, then you're good. But that's how I like to do it, but you can do it any way you want as long as you get into those positions. And you definitely want to keep your feet down. You know, sometimes you see these people with their feet just sitting there, you know, up on something, or like the little metal bars on the end of the benching rack.
I would just add, the only reason you'd want to elevate your feet is if you have low back problems.
Okay.
You know, then you can keep a more neutral pelvis, but otherwise, pelvis stable on the bench, shoulder blades compacted down and back. I think one cue I use is shoulder blades in your back pockets, and people can get the feel for it.
Bar all the way down, touching you, and you're at the bottom. What about your head? I sometimes see people when they're benching, they're putting their head way up.
I would say chin down, but head stays flat. So you don't want to arch back, you don't want to lift your head off. So keep your head in contact with the bench, chin down.